How does a Japanese home keep its driveway, patio, and garden paths weed-free for years without spraying a single chemical? Because the real problem is not one little weed. It is spending your Saturday morning spraying every crack, pulling every green shoot, and thinking the job is done, only to see the same weeds coming back the next weekend. A clean driveway can still make the whole house look neglected when thin green lines start crawling along the garage, around the mailbox, or between the patio pavers. And if you have a dog, kids, or vegetables growing nearby, soaking every edge of your home in chemicals never feels completely right. That is why the Japanese approach is different. The answer is not a product. It is a way of thinking. Handle weeds early, while they are still weak, before the real problem hides deeper inside the crack. In Japan, there is a daily practice called soji, often translated as cleaning, but it means something closer to tending. It is not about waiting until a space becomes messy and then trying to rescue it. It is about giving small attention before the problem has a chance to grow. You see it in Japanese schools, where children sweep their own classrooms after lunch. You see it in temple courtyards, where gravel is raked before sunrise, not because everything has fallen apart overnight, but because order is easier to keep than to recover. That is the real heart of the Japanese weed-free method. The Japanese part is not the kettle, the vinegar, or the fabric. The Japanese part is the timing. A homeowner in America may wait until the driveway cracks are full of green lines before doing anything. But a Japanese gardener notices the seedling when it is still tiny, sometimes no bigger than a fingernail, and pulls it the day after rain, when the soil is soft and the root comes out clean. That careful hand weeding is called kusamushiri. A 2-inch weed is a 1-second job. Leave that same weed alone for a month, and it becomes a fight with a root that does not want to let go. Start with the obvious places: the cracks in the driveway, the narrow line along the garage door, the gaps between patio pavers, the gravel path beside the house, the edge of the mailbox, and the strip under the fence where the mower never cuts cleanly. Then look at the quieter spots most people miss: the corner where leaves collect, the place where gutter water spills over, the bed edge where mulch has thinned out, or the side yard where dust and grass clippings always seem to settle. Weeds do not appear by accident. They need 4 things to get started: light, a little organic dust, moisture, and a small crack or pocket that holds the seed long enough for it to wake up. When those 4 things meet, you have found the breeding spot. That is why one crack can stay clean while the crack beside it turns green every spring. It is not luck. One is just concrete. The other has become a tiny nursery, and this is why weeds can grow right out of concrete, even when you think there is no soil there at all. A weed growing out of a driveway crack looks strange at first, because it feels like there should be nothing there for a plant to live on. But that crack is not empty. Over time, it collects almost everything a seed needs. Every time you mow, tiny grass clippings blow across the concrete and settle into the gap. In fall, small pieces of dry leaves break down between the pavers. Dust, pollen, sand, and soil from car tires get washed into the same narrow line. Then the next rain pushes moisture down into that pocket and holds it there just long enough for a seed to wake up. That is how a crack in concrete slowly becomes a miniature planter. So when you kill the visible weed with boiling water, vinegar, or hand pulling, the job is not completely finished. The green part may be gone, but the little growing environment underneath may still be sitting there, ready for the next seed. After the weed dies, sweep the crack clean. Use a leaf blower to push out dry dust, clear rotting leaves from between patio pavers, and if one section of the driveway keeps turning green, check your gutter, because overflowing water may be dragging mud and organic matter straight into that spot. If you only kill the plant but never clean out the tiny planter underneath, that crack will grow a new crop of weeds for you. The most accessible chemical-free tool in your kitchen is not some special garden product. It is a kettle of plain water brought to a rolling boil. For young weeds growing through driveway cracks, patio pavers, or gravel paths, boiling water works because it attacks the plant directly. Water at 212 degrees Fahrenheit, or 100 degrees Celsius, damages the plant's cell walls and denatures the proteins inside the leaves and stems. Within a few hours, the green parts start to collapse. By the next day, many small seedlings look brown, limp, and finished. But the way you pour matters more than most people think. Use a small kettle, not a heavy pot you have to carry across the yard. Wear closed-toe shoes, move slowly, And do not do this while your dog or kids are running around the driveway. When you pour, do not just splash the leaves, aim for the exact point where the weed comes out of the crack, and pour slowly enough that the heat travels down into the crown of the plant. Also, keep boiling water away from lawn edges, flower beds, vegetable plants, and tree roots you want to protect, because this method does not know the difference between a weed and a plant you care about. If boiling water does not work, it may not be because the method is weak. It may be because you hit the leaves but missed the place where the weed comes back to life. Here's the part that most quick weed videos leave out. Boiling water is a contact treatment. It cooks what it touches, but it does not always kill what is hidden underneath. For tiny spring seedlings, that is often enough. They are soft, shallow, and have not built much of a root system yet. Hit them early, and the whole plant may be finished. But older weeds are different. A dandelion, thistle, or any weed with a deep taproot can lose its leaves and still come back, because the real power is stored below the surface. The top turns brown, but the root still has energy saved inside it, and a week or two later, it spends that energy pushing up a fresh set of leaves. This is where many homeowners give up, because they think the weed coming back means the method failed. In reality, the root underneath is still spending its savings account. So use a simple rule: small weeds, kill them fast; deep-rooted weeds, repeat the treatment. Invasive weeds, exhaust them; weeds beside plants you want to keep, pull them by hand after rain. If bindweed, thistle, or another stubborn perennial keeps returning, do not panic. Remove every new green shoot before it can feed the root again. That is not instant, but it is how you slowly starve the plant until it has nothing left to spend. Now let me say something clearly about salt, because this is where the internet gives homeowners some of its worst advice. You will see videos telling you to pour table salt, rock salt, or a salty vinegar mix into driveway cracks. And yes, salt can make weeds die faster. It pulls moisture out of the plant and makes the soil hostile. But that is also the problem. Salt does not stay politely in the one crack where you poured it. The next rain moves it sideways. It seeps toward the lawn, the flower bed, the tree roots, and the strip of soil beside the driveway that you may want alive later. A formula can kill weeds in one day, but it can damage your soil for many seasons. And be careful with the viral kitchen chemical recipes too. Do not mix vinegar with bleach. Do not start combining cleaners, acids, soaps, and salts just because a video says it makes the mixture stronger. Stronger is not always better when you do not understand the reaction, the fumes, or where that liquid will go after the first rain. Natural does not mean harmless. If a weed is in a pure pavement crack, boiling water is cleaner. If it is near grass, flowers, shrubs, or vegetables, skip the salt completely. For tougher established weeds, where boiling water keeps burning the top, but the plant still pushes back, there is a stronger natural option: horticultural vinegar. But do not confuse this with the 5% white vinegar sitting in your kitchen cabinet. Household vinegar may brown a few tiny seedlings on a hot, sunny day, but it usually does not have enough strength to stop an older weed with a real root system. Horticultural vinegar is different. It is usually 20 to 30% acetic acid, and at that level it burns through the waxy coating on the leaves and damages the green tissue fast. That strength is exactly why you need to respect it. Chemical-free does not mean risk-free. Horticultural vinegar can irritate your skin, hurt your eyes badly if it splashes, and scorch any plant it lands on. Use gloves, wear eye protection, and apply it with a small, precise sprayer on a still day. Do not use it while children or pets are moving around the area, and do not spray near vegetables, flowers, shrubs, lawn edges, patio furniture, metal edging, or stone surfaces you care about. This tool belongs in driveway cracks, gravel paths, and bare spaces where nothing useful is growing. The stronger the tool, the more clearly you need to know exactly where it is allowed to touch and where it is not. Now we get to the part that actually stops weeds from coming back: blocking the light before the seed ever gets a chance to wake up. In many traditional Japanese gravel paths and tidy home courtyards, there is often a weed control fabric underneath the stone. In Japan, it is called bozu sheet, a weed prevention sheet. It lets water drain through, but it keeps sunlight from reaching the soil below. And for most weed seeds, no light means no germination. You can use the same idea on a driveway edge, a gravel path, a side yard walkway, or under decorative stone. Clear the area down to bare soil, lay the fabric flat, overlap the seams by several inches, Pin it down firmly with landscape staples, then cover it with 2 to 3 inches of gravel. But this is where many homeowners get disappointed. They overlap too little, use too few staples, spread the gravel too thin, or leave the fabric exposed to sunlight until it breaks down. Then leaves and dust collect on top of the gravel, creating a brand new layer of soil above the fabric. Landscape fabric does not fail because it is useless. It fails because many people install it like a carpet, not like a light-blocking system. This is where the method splits, because fabric and mulch do not belong in the same places. Use landscape fabric where you want a clean, almost permanent surface, under gravel, under decorative stone, along a driveway edge, or on a side yard path where you do not want anything growing. Fabric works best when the goal is to block light and keep the surface dry, open, and low maintenance. But in flower beds, vegetable beds, or around shrubs, the soil still needs to breathe and move. Roots need room to spread, earthworms need access, water and organic matter need to cycle naturally. That is where mulch makes more sense. A thick layer of bark chips, wood chips, or composted material spread 2 to 3 inches deep blocks light from reaching weed seeds, holds moisture for the plants you actually want, and slowly feeds the soil as it breaks down. But do not lay wood mulch over fabric in a living bed and expect it to stay clean forever. After a few seasons, that organic mulch breaks down into a new layer of soil on top of the fabric, and weeds begin growing right there. Remember it this way: fabric plus gravel works, soil plus mulch works, fabric plus wood mulch in a living bed usually becomes trouble later. 1 inch of mulch makes a flower bed look clean, 3 inches changes the growing conditions for the weed seeds underneath. For flower beds and borders, prevention works best when the soil is not left bare. Mulch does more than make a bed look finished. A proper 2 to 3 inch layer of bark chips, wood chips, or composted material blocks light, holds moisture, protects the soil from heat, and makes it harder for weed seeds to wake up. But mulch fails when homeowners treat it like decoration. One thin dusting is not enough. Piling it like a volcano around the base of a tree can trap moisture against the trunk. Covering large weeds without pulling them first only gives them a soft blanket to push through. Leaving the edge of the bed open lets lawn grass creep right back in. And if you never refresh the mulch each year, it thins out until sunlight reaches the soil again. Ground cover works from the same idea: occupy the space before weeds do. Creeping thyme can soften a sunny path, sedum handles dry slopes, moss belongs in shaded, damp corners. That narrow strip beside the driveway, where the mower never fits cleanly, may be better filled with a low ground cover than left as struggling grass. Weeds love empty space. If you do not fill that space with mulch or ground cover, nature will fill it with something you did not ask for. There is one piece of timing wisdom that makes every method work better, and it is simple enough to remember: treat in the heat, pull in the damp. If you are using boiling water or horticultural vinegar, choose a hot, dry, sunny afternoon. The weed is already under stress, the leaves are exposed, and the damage lands harder than it would on a cool, cloudy morning. What you do not want to do is spray vinegar right before rain, because the water can wash it off before it has time to burn the plant tissue. Hand pulling is the opposite. Wait until the day after rain or early in the morning after a heavy dew, when the soil has loosened around the root. Grip the weed low, close to the base, and pull slowly upward. If you yank fast, especially in dry, compacted soil, the top breaks off and the root stays behind, ready to send up another shoot. Most people get the timing backward. They pull when the ground is hard, spray when rain is coming, and wait until August when the weeds are already strong. When you look at the cost, this method is hard to ignore. A kettle of boiling water costs almost nothing. Mulch may cost a few dollars per bed and lasts through the season. A roll of weed control fabric under gravel is a one-time job that can protect a path for years. Compare that to buying weed killer again and again, every spring, every summer, every time the cracks turn green. But the real value is not only the money, it is not worrying when your dog walks across the driveway after you treated it. It is not wondering whether your kids touched a plant that was sprayed yesterday. It is not watching overspray drift toward your tomato bed, your basil, or the flowers you actually wanted to keep. It is getting your Saturday morning back instead of fighting the same weeds you thought you killed last month. The cheapest method is not always the one that costs nothing. The cheapest method is the one you do not have to repeat every month. A clean driveway does not need a garage full of chemicals. A tidy patio does not need to steal your weekend. If this helped you see weeds differently, hit like and subscribe, because next we will cover how to keep a lawn green through summer without dumping chemical fertilizer on it every few weeks. The Japanese method is not about fighting harder. It is about never letting the fight get big enough to steal your weekend. So if this helped you see weeds a little differently, not as something you fight once a month, but as something you stop before it ever gets strong, hit the like button so I know you want more practical home care methods like this. Not tricks that only work on camera, not expensive products you have to keep buying, just simple systems that make your driveway cleaner, your patio easier to maintain, and your weekends a little less stressful. And subscribe to the channel because in the next video, we are going to look at how to keep a lawn green through the heat of summer without pouring chemical fertilizer on it every few weeks. Because the Japanese method is not about fighting harder. It is about paying attention earlier, working smaller, and never letting the fight get big enough to steal your weekend.